back. My name is Chris Sachinelli, and I get to build, buy, and sell simple profit businesses every single day. We're doing so in public over at our community, Bootstrapper community, where we're trying to master the 5 exits of ownership together, build better together, and ultimately put more profit in our pocket, right? We're always exiting, whether or not we acknowledge it. The fact of the matter is, as a business owner, there's 5 exits of ownership that we have to master. Most folks think of the final exit, exit 5, exit your business, sell your business, right? But realistically, exit 4, you could stop operating your business day-to-day basis, put an operator in place, put some cash flow in your pocket, or you could stop managing the business, managing people in the business by building a business system. You can run the business, right? Stop doing all the work by building a team. Leave the day job, exit the day job by start doing the work, make this your business, right? So there's 5 exits that no matter where we are in our stage, everything starts somewhere, but it's a journey, right? Life is a real thing. It's a journey, and we're always exiting. And our goal with Bootstrapper Capital is to be able to provide the most affordable and flexible solutions, specifically performance-based capital, to help you on this journey as you build profit-led businesses. In today's conversation, we are getting into profit-led targets, right? We run a newsletter every week with over 50,000 investpreneurs who subscribe and vote on our polls. In today's topic, we're talking about profit-led targets. How do we identify, what we should measure and build towards in terms of goals inside of our business to help drive more profitability as we navigate and master these 5 exits of ownership, right? So with exit number 1, we're focusing on know your financial constraints, specifically as it pertains to you selfishly, right? Yourself. Start with yourself. Do for yourself before you do for others. So you want to know your financial constraints, and then you want to build to expand them. So in terms of setting simple targets with exit number 1, which again, exit number 1 is leave the day job, right? You're trying to exit the day job and make this your job, right? You're trying to get into business realistically with exit number 1. Make this your full-time thing. So in this situation, it's extremely important that you understand your personal financial parameters, right? For the most part, you are likely bootstrapping at this stage, which means you're self-funding, right? So you're either funding it from the income from your day job. Maybe you're tapping into some savings. If you follow the investment journey, then it's go get a job, get somebody else to pay you to get an income and experience, take some of that income, all of that experience, and go build something on the side, right? So you're doing a risk mitigated approach, but you're going to want to know what your income is. Your goal is to grow it, right? Through your activities with your business. You want to know what your expenses are, and you want to reduce those. And then the constraints, right, that you're trying to, the thing that you're focusing on as a target is to build and expand, at the end of the day, what's left over, the profit in your pocket, right? So you're trying to expand, what's left over here. And that's the goal that you want to set. So if you're making, $10,000 a month, let's say, in your day job, then you want to make sure that you're expanding and you're setting a financial goal to increase by another $10,000 a month, right? You want to be able to ultimately replace that income by setting goals that expand your targets, right? So you're thinking about expansionary targets in exit number 1 because you're trying to situate yourself to be able to focus, strategy goes focus on your business full time without taking on unnecessary risks in doing so, right? Exit number 2 is when we want to stop doing all the work. So you start hiring people, you start building a team, right? So in exit number 2, what we're really focusing on, even though the key word is people and you're building a team, what you're really trying to focus on in terms of targets here is profitability per process, right? So you want to map out the process associated with your customer journey. So as a customer comes into your business system, they follow a set defined journey, right? Where they convert, how they find you, where they convert into, how you engage with them, how you deliver service, how you follow up with them, how you bill them, right? There's a customer journey, right, associated with your business system. Your job is to map out the processes of the customer journey, identify the process, and then you want to back in from a profit per process perspective by associating revenue generated with the cost associated. And you want to make sure that every process that you're mapping ultimately lands you with profit. And the way that you're doing this is you're focusing on processes tied to revenue growth. So you want to focus on the things that are growing top line revenue. Customer acquisition, 4 pillars of customer acquisition: warm relationships, cold relationships, earned relationships, paid relationships, right? You're focusing on retention, customer retention from the 9 C's, right? How you're increasing your lifetime value of the customer. And ultimately, you want to look at these processes and you want to focus on them from revenue growth and customer retention, but you want to look at it the lens from cost management. You don't want to overspend. Now, the asterisk here is you're optimizing for profitability without hurting, without having a diminishing effect, without having a negative effect on customer experience. So you're appreciating the customer journey, you're maximizing for profitability, but not at the expense of the experience or delight of your customer, right? Extremely important to acknowledge that, get that right. Exit number 3, we're talking about all about profitability per person, right? You're looking at your business system, you're looking at the people inside of it, and you're trying to optimize your business. You're trying to optimize your business system. And the best way to optimize your business system is to optimize around profitability per person, right? Because people become a cost center, but you can't look at them as a cost center. You need to understand the value creation being associated with every new headcount into your business. And by focusing on profitability to per person, you're thinking about revenue growth, cost management, employee productivity, and customer lifetime value. So many of the same things that we're focusing on exit 2, you're just looking at it slightly different. And in this situation, we have a whole video that we dedicated just to profitability per person. So we're not going to go so into the weeds. But what you're really thinking about is how do we optimize, right, to make things as efficient and effective as possible, right? How do we measure what matters so that we can build a better system, build a better business? How do we automate away, manual work so that we can save time, so that we can refocus time into more profitable activities, right? From an employee utilization perspective, right? How do we maximize the amount of revenue coming in while reducing our costs without having a negative impact on the customer experience, right? How do we make sure that the happiness level of our people is as high as possible? How are we optimizing for happiness? Because if we can optimize for happiness, then we're going to be able to get things like productivity lift, right? And we'll get more per person from a productivity perspective, which will hopefully drive if people are focusing on the right things at the right time to get to the right outcomes for the right reason. Hopefully that productivity lift will result in a lift in profitability, right? So at exit number 3, we're focused on profitability per person, right? Exit number 4. So exit number 4 is you have your business system in place. You're no longer managing people. You're really placing somebody else into the business, a leadership team or a leader or an operator to start to work that business system that you built. You're exiting yourself out of having to do the day-to-day operations, and you're hiring an operator. So realistically, exit number 4 is typically the first technical true exit that somebody can experience in regards to getting into a passive position with the business, turning the business into an asset, right? So at exit 4, you're optimizing for profit in your pocket. And when we optimize for profit in our pocket, keep in mind, these other things that are targets, profit-led targets that we're optimizing around, right? These are things that we're setting goals with. They don't go away. So exit 1, know your financials, right? At exit 4, you're trying to optimize and know your financials in terms of distributions, because distributions becomes the profit that actually goes in your pocket after everything's said and done and all the expenses are taken care of in your business in a passive way. So it's almost at exit 4 that you're trying to get back into the same goals that you had for exit 1, which was, again, solving for your own personal financial situation, right? Exit number 2, it was processes and KPIs, right, tied to profitability per process. At exit number 4, you're trying to optimize, right? So you're looking at things like your OpEx, You're making sure that you're working within a budget, right? You're trying to optimize for profitability per process and profitability per person, right? And you want to optimize profitability per process because that's going to ultimately put the maximum amount of distributions in your pocket. But you understand that you need to optimize for profitability per person, which also means happiness per person, right? Because you don't want to have high employee turnover or churn, right? You want to make sure your people are as productive as possible, right? By doing that and by combining all of these things together, what you're ultimately doing is setting allocation targets, right? So you have your profit and your profit loss statement of your business. You see what's coming through the business and you're making allocations. You know that taxes, no matter what, have to go out, right? You have to pay Uncle Sam. So you're setting that money aside as an allocation budget, right? You want to pay yourself first. So you're putting your distributions into another account automatically from a percentage of your profit, right? So this is all profit-led allocations. So how you're associating, how you're putting up, how you're divvying the pie up, right? Operating comp, that's you got to pay your people, right? You got to pay the leadership that you're putting in charge to run the business, and you're ideally aligning that operator's incentive with your incentives, right? So you're ideally aligning them into these profit-led financial goals so that they're now responsible for the goals associated with exit 1, exit 2, exit 3. Realistically, they're caring the most about exit 3, profitability per person, right, which is a byproduct of mastering exit 2. And then because they're taking care of exit 3 and exit 2 goals, you are able to achieve your exit 1 goal, which is your distributions, right? So you're incentivizing and aligning for the right reasons, right? Then you have a war chest because life is a real thing, business is a real thing, and you always need to keep reserves, right? And then you have your OpEx, which is what you're actually operating the business from an expense, what you're willing to invest into the day-to-day operations without decreasing your customer experience, right? So you do not want to optimize at all costs. You want to optimize for profitability from an OpEx perspective, but you want to do so in a manner that still achieves the goals, the delight of your customer experience, right? Because that's how you build a better business over time. And then you're making sure that you're hitting your targets, right? If you're not hitting your targets, then you're going to look at it and you're going to say, well, where are we missing and why? And you start to optimize your business by pulling the right levers to be able to achieve your allocation targets. And you prioritize these, right? So you're saying, okay, if we're missing targets based off our buckets, like which one are we willing to compromise on first? And the goal is you don't want to compromise, right? But is it, taxes? Probably not, right? Is it war chest? Maybe if you built up enough, right? Is it OpEx? Do you have to cut budget more? Well, not if you're going to impact your customer experience, right? Then you need to be able to take it out of somebody's pocket, which is either going to be your operator's pocket or your pocket, right? So these are just simple ways to set goals. And then based off if things are trending right or wrong, it allows you to focus on the things to make good, timely decisions, right? Because strategy equals focus. Exit number 5, it's profit after exit. So this is when you're actually looking to sell the business, which you could be selling in a cash out, or you could be selling in an earn out, or any number of structures, right? So you're thinking about, how am I minimizing taxes, right? So keep the profit in my pocket after I exit. To do that, what types of terms are we putting in? Because is the money today worth the same as money tomorrow, right? There's a diminishing value associated with future cash, right? Future cash flow. So, and then you got to ask yourself, what's the use of the capital? What am I going to use the money for? Do I need all this money today, right? Or is there a better approach to it? What am I going to put the money into, right? So you're thinking about the impact of your decisions, and you're trying to optimize for the profit after exit, which in part means the decisions you're making inside the business, because you're trying to maximize the value of your business at this stage, right? You're trying to unlock as much wedge equity as you possibly can prior to selling. But then you're thinking about the use, and you're optimizing for the use for you, profit in your pocket after exit, right? So each one of these allows you to focus in and set targets. The targets allow you to then build build what you're measuring, right? Identify what you're measuring so you can measure what matters, so that at each of the exits, you're staying focused, right? So you could, focus on the right things. Strategy equals focus, so that you can run simple bets, run simple experiments, do your retrospective, see what's working, see what levers to pull, so that you can trust the process and commit to the journey. All right, if you enjoyed this video and watched to the end, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to build up this YouTube channel. It's a big initiative for us. It's a pretty big lift at the end of the day. All of our content comes from polls that we run inside of our newsletter. If you're not a part of the newsletter, please subscribe. It's the Simple Profits newsletter. And if you would like to build better together, if you'd like to get a little bit of help mastering the 5 exits of ownership, put more profit in your pocket, then you can come on over to Bootstrapper community, and you can sign up and join the community. We also have awesome things that we align into in terms of getting you activated, so that you can start with like a personal exit plan, so that we can actually understand where you are in each of these 5 exits, at which exit are you on the journey, and then we can help you plan appropriately by setting the right types of targets, right? At the end of the day, everything starts with you, right? Everything starts with you. So we are, no matter what, you want to make sure that you're building from a good, a perspective of financial parameters, right? Know where you are. All right. Trust the process, commit to the journey. Till next time. I appreciate it.